All right, good morning, everybody. So the audio seems to be working correctly now. Happy Sunday. All right, so everything's to be working correctly now, finally. Thanks everybody for joining the stream. We're going to continue playing some of the activities. We were playing the landing challenges, but there's a section that we haven't played called bush trips. So I'm thinking that is going to be a fun, interesting thing we can go. There's a lot to do. Since you guys are probably tired of watching me crash land these landing challenges, I think we're gonna try some of these bush trips. So let me know in the comments where you guys are tuning in from. I'm live on TikTok, YouTube, and Twitch. If you want to do me a favor, head over to my Twitch and give me some follows. I am trying to reach 50 followers, so that's my goal. I would appreciate everybody's help in that. Just gonna make sure that all these settings are still working, everything is live. Get my seat adjusted so we can have a good position. So let's start with Alaska. Looks like we're flying the Cub. So this is a tour through the bush territories of Alaska Peninsula. So we'll be in the cockpit of a Cub Crafter, cruising at 117 knots. Oh wait, yeah, knots, 200 kilometers or so. The trip will be available in the form of back on track on the VFR map. So it's a 6-minute duration, number of legs 12, and we're flying from Unasalka to Kulik Lake. 40 nautical miles is the first leg. Is that right? Okay, well, let's give it a go. 700 nautical miles. That's a long trip. Wow, down the whole that's cool. So 3 knots, not much of a wind. So it looks like we're basically following the coast, zigzagging north and south of the peninsula. Oh, it's a 6-hour trip. Wow. I hope we can do this in a few steps. I don't have time to stream for 6 hours today, but we'll see what we can do. Range, yeah, it's a 6-hour trip. I don't think the Cub has fuel for that, so I'm assuming, well, I don't know. I think it's 6 minutes. Maybe this leg is 6 minutes, so maybe there's several legs, but 6-minute flight, I don't know. Anyway, let's start and see what happens. So let's see what it's telling us. Starting point is the Grand Alaskan Tour from the runway and head northeast across Dutch Harbor. As you pass around Mount Coxcomb in the distance, Summer Bay Lake should come into view. Continue beyond the lake to the shoreline of Humpy Cove just beyond it. Okay. So I think we're kind of doing half Dead Reckoning, half we got a map to follow. I forget my control. Oh, there we go. It's control plus. So we can zoom in. So I think a 10 nautical mile is going to be a good map setup. And basically we're going to start on a heading of 077 and then go to 103. We are flying the Cub. Beautiful airplane. Never flown one in real life. So it's got a nice Garmin setup inside. So we don't have any of the traditional. We just have a digital artificial horizon. None of the other traditional gauges. So we got fuel on the left. Nothing on the right. Flaps. So the throttle and the mixture is... Yeah. Oh, it's a very... So it's... Yeah, so I guess it's a turboprop. Since we have a very... Oh no, it's a... naturally aspirated engine, but with a variable propeller. Okay. Flap-wise, what are we working with? We got strobes, nav lights. Let's turn all that on. Masters are on. Fuel pump. Masters are already on. That's the mixture. Lighting. So do we even have flaps? We do have flaps, so I'm just not... Oh, why are we going? Oh no. Oh, so you gotta like super smooth on the brakes. Okay, let me set the park brake. There. I want to know where the flap selector is in here. Oh, we got carb heat up here. I don't see anything moving for the flaps. They are coming down. They might be a manual lever, because they're coming down very quick. Usually in smaller airplanes, it's like a handbrake kind of looking lever. But I don't see anything moving when I select them. Anyway. So we'll take off. We're already pointing heading 120. We gotta go 077. We're aiming for this point. So once we get airborne, we'll use your map to help us navigate. Again, remember, tail wheel aircraft, look how high the nose is. It's very hard to steer because you can't really see anything. So landing will be a challenge. So let's go and see what happens. So parks brakes released. We're gonna hold back on the controls just to keep the nose. Actually, no, we're gonna push. Wait, it's backwards. No, we're gonna pull on the tail wheel so we don't get the nose flying too quickly. Hello? Why is... There we go. So a little bit of back pressure just to keep the nose up. Once the airspeed comes alive, we can relax and let the nose wheel... Whoa, look how... So the rudder pedals are just like incredibly sensitive. So there, the nose wheel is off. Sorry, tail wheel. And we're just kind of flying it. And then we just go a little bit back pressure at 60 knots. Maybe a little bit too much. Maybe lower the nose here so we can accelerate a little bit. Okay, and bring the flaps up. And now we're going to the right of this mountain. We're kind of following the, what is this? Kind of a lake situation? Anyway, let's see. So we have to go left. So there we go. So it's this point that we're aiming for. Oh, I screwed up. Complete a bush trip without using the get me on track feature. So do we have to start again? I hope not. Well, let's just restart it. I don't want to lose all the progress. At least now we know which button not to push. But we're set up. I don't know why we're starting on the grass. So we're not going to push back on track. We will use the help of this moving map. Because the airplane is here, but it's not on here. So let's start the clock. Park brakes released. And off we go. Again, holding a little bit of back pressure just to put pressure on the tail wheel till we get an airspeed alive. Now airspeed's alive, we're gonna... Well, she's ready to fly, so there we go. That was a lot faster. But we're not using any flap either, so we could have used a little bit of flap. Anyway. Started the time. We're looking at 1 minute 42 to get to this first waypoint. And so looks like we need to point to this point, which is here, and that's a heading of 077. So I don't know if I can make this smaller. That's the smallest I can go, but there's heading 077. We are... Doesn't say what altitude. But let's climb above these peaks just so we don't get stuck in a valley somewhere. And there's no autopilot on this, so we're going to be manually flying the whole time. And we're targeting a minute 42. There's a minute 47, so we're basically almost there. Once we hit this waypoint, we're going to a heading of 103. Okay, we're about here. Technically, it wants us to hit this waypoint, which is right here. So we're a little bit slow. That's only because we're still climbing. So maybe 2,000 feet should be a good altitude. Looks like we're above everything at this altitude. So right here, we'll level, we'll accelerate, get going a little bit faster. Okay, according to this map, we're about here. So now let's turn heading of 103. A little bit far, but let's see. So now we're going to this point here, which looks to be right there. So far we're pointing pretty close. Maybe a little bit of a heading change to 110 just because we turned late. And VFR, we're pointing right here, it seems. There's the inlet that this map is showing us. And so we're basically pointing right here. After we hit this point, we're going on a heading of 043, which will take us across this island onto the tip. And 2,000 feet looks like it's gonna clear everything. Okay, we're approaching our point here. Now we're going to a heading of 043. There we are, and now let's turn 043. And we're gonna go across the point of this bay, which is right here, and to the tip of this next island. So it looks like about here's the angle. So we're crossing right over this bay here, which is right there, and then we're pointing to that tip. So we're now on leg number 3. Move our map. Let's zoom out a little to give us a better view, and we are pretty much pointing to this tip, which aligns with this. Remember, in real life, this would be all plotted on a physical paper chart. Very similar to this, just in a paper format. Flying in this remote area of Alaska, you always want to have a paper physical map, because if something happens, say your avionics go blank, you're screwed. So you need to have raw data somewhere. Alright, we're basically on track. Welcome everybody to the stream. We're just doing some bush trips here in Alaska. It's the first one, flying the Super Cub. I'm live on TikTok, YouTube, and Twitch. If you want to help me out, and go follow me on Twitch. I'm trying to get my first 50 followers, so that would help me out a lot. It would be much appreciated. So we're about 2,000 feet. I might climb a little bit more. These ridges seem a little high and we have to cross right over the center. So let's climb to 3,000 and see if that will be better. But we're coming up to the small island. Uh-oh. forget how to zoom out on these charts. Anyway, we'll keep it at 10 miles. After this small island, which is this, we're going to this bay, which looks to be this one. If you look at the terrain, this small bay looks to be like this one, and then we're going to the bigger one. So once we hit the beginning of the island, which is basically now, this was 0.3, now we're going to 0.4, which is a heading of 040. It doesn't quite align. Only because I think we got a little bit cross-tracked from the exact route. So here we're at 3,000 feet. We're just going to stay at 3,000. And we need to cross to the left of these small islands, which we are. And then we're going to this bigger bay, which is right there. So our heading of 054, even though this is 040, it's still accurate. Because this is 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 is across the island, and then 5, which we are starting now, it's a heading of 051. That makes more sense. So now we're on about a heading of 055 to hit our point right there. And basically that's how you would be reading a VFR map. You'd be following it with your finger, flying with the other hand, and that way you never lose track of where you are. So this is 0.5. After we hit this bay, we're going to a heading of 048. So not a massive change, but basically across the island to this tip, or this bay here. So if we zoom out on this map, once we hit this bay, we're going to this bay. Looks like there's an airport there, so if there's an emergency or something happens, weather comes in, we could definitely go here. So you always want to have an idea of if something happens, where are you gonna go? But beautiful country, never been to Alaska. I've been to the Yukon in Canada here. And Yukon is very similar. I ferried Cessna 206 to Mayo, Yukon. Middle of Yukon, middle of nowhere. But me and another pilot ferried the Cessna 206. It was a very cool journey. So I'm trying to maintain 3,000 feet or so. So it says our ETA is 1919. I'm not sure if that makes sense. I'm not sure if this is referring to 19 minutes and 19 seconds. If it does, then we're already at 12 minutes. So I think we're a little bit behind on our schedule. But that's just because I climbed up a little bit. We lost a little bit of airspeed. But doesn't matter. We're still following our VFR map. We're approaching this bay. And then we're going to go down this valley, it looks like. So we'll be turning a heading of 048. So right now we're on leg number 5. Which is coinciding with this bay. So we are in the correct bay. And once we get here, we're going to go right there. So this is the next, this is leg 6. So we'll scroll that up so we don't forget. And that's close enough. We can start making a gradual turn. I mean, we are flying VFR, so we don't really have to hit these waypoints specifically. We do know we're going to this base somewhere here. And now we can check our map to see if we're pointing pretty close, and we are. Thanks everybody for joining the stream. If you have aviation questions, let me know in the comments. I'm live on TikTok, YouTube, and Twitch. And if you guys are watching this as a replay, head over to Twitch and give me a follow. Would really appreciate it. Trying to get to my first 50 followers on Twitch. So we're at about 15 minutes. We're definitely going to be a couple of minutes behind based on our flight plan, but we are pointing to the right bay. We are on leg 6. Once we hit this bay, we're going to leg 7 and then turning right to a heading of 016. And basically we're at 3,000 feet. Give or take. I just got it trimmed out, so it kind of fluctuates a little bit. So after leg 6, which finishes right here in this bay, we are gonna make a right turn. Basically somewhere around here. And then we're going to this airport. Pout. I'm not sure if we're landing there. Let's see. We are. Pout. Head out of Hot Springs Bay and make your way around the outcroppings of Bridge Point. Once past the point, continue east over Sandy Cove and along the shoreline towards Akun Island. Your first destination awaits is Akun Airport, which is designated as POW. So this is our first airport. So right now we're on leg 6. And the last leg will be number 7. As we hit this bay, which we're almost here, we're going to make a right turn 016. And then over the water, we're going to descend. Let's see if we can't click on Pout. It's at 121 feet, so it's sea level, more or less. 4,500 feet long. And those would be the frequencies. So I was just thinking, what altitude do we have to descend for the circuit? So I'm thinking we'll descend to 1,500 feet. and then we will see if there's any wind and then join the appropriate downwind. Caveat, I haven't successfully landed the tail draggers, so 4,500 feet is good because I don't know if I'm gonna nail it or if we're gonna crash. Alright, so we're right at the bay. We're gonna make our last leg, number 7, heading 016. So that doesn't make sense. I have to go about here. But it's not a heading of 016. It's more of a heading of 090 or so. Because the airport's right here somewhere. So we're going to start descending. Yeah, it's right by this small body of water. So I think I can actually see it. It's right there. So definitely not a heading of 016. And we're descending to 1,500 feet. So we can cross over the runway. Circuit height is 1,000 feet typically. So unless you know where the wind's coming from, you always cross 500 feet above circuit height. But yeah, we're at 19 minutes, but we're at 20. So a couple of minutes behind, but that's okay. As long as we are confident on our route, a few minutes off is okay. And again, in real life, this would be much more accurate. So there's about 1,500 feet. We're gonna level. We technically could do a straight in. So you know what, just to save time, let's do that. So we're gonna keep descending to 1,000 feet. How many miles are we away? What's this map zoomed? So I think we can start slowing down and do a straight in approach. Let's not descend too quickly. Let's add 1 notch of flaps to really slow us down. I'm gonna estimate the approach speed about 60. So we're at 600 feet. Looks to be about right on the slope. And again, landing a tail-wheeled airplane, my goal is to land on the main gear and then start to bleed off the speed and apply very smooth braking. If you apply brakes too hard, she will pitch forward and you're gonna crash. So the last notch of flaps is going in to help us land as slow as possible. And remember, the visibility with a tailwheel airplane is very hard. You can't see over the nose. So in real life, you would be like looking slightly off the left of the cowling. So here we're gonna touch. There we go. Now I'm gonna apply smooth braking and pulling back very slowly until the nose touches. Or the tail. There we go. A little bit more braking, a little bit more brake. So I'm very gently braking here. Here we are. Leg completed. Not sure what this time means. 23 minutes? Okay, yeah. That makes sense. 23 minutes? Okay, yeah. That makes sense. Oh, and we got a logbook. Cool. Oh, and we got a logbook. Cool. So not bad. I don't see anything and we're refueled. Gotta love that. Now let's look over our route. This one's 27 minutes. We're kind of in the middle of the runway. So we might you know, I think we can take off from here. I know in real life would be backtracking and using the whole runway, but to save time, this is a Super Cub. We're gonna attempt to take off. I mean, it's 4,500 feet, and this thing can take off usually in less than 1,000, so I think we'll be fine. So once we get airborne, we're basically flying straight out to this small island. So let's get ourselves set up. So this is where we're going. Heading 097. It's a pretty short leg, and then we're going to heading 112. And then we're going to this shoreline here. Alright guys, we're ready for the second leg in this journey in Alaska on the Super Cub. So let's go. I'm holding the brakes. I'm gonna add power. Is it gonna work? Hello? Doesn't want. There we go. Now we're registering. Brakes are on. Brakes are off. Airspeed's alive. I'm being just very gentle on the rudders. It's 50 knots. And here we go. So I'm just gonna climb very gradual. I'm gonna bring up 1 notch of flaps. Second notch of flaps is coming up. And looks like I see the island. This is where we're going. It does match here. And let's climb up to... Oh, I forgot to start the time. There we go. Climb to maybe 2,000 feet. Hey, thanks for the Rose King. Happy Sunday. Thanks for joining the stream. We're flying bush trips in Alaska today. So we're in a Super Cub following this flight plan that the system has for us. We just completed our first leg. Now we got a second leg that's 27 minutes long. So thanks for joining the stream. If you haven't already, go follow me on Twitch, Trying to get to my first 50 followers. So this is our first waypoint, right here, this little island, which we are basically about to hit. Then we're going to a heading of 112, so we're on leg number 2. And we're going to this shoreline, which is somewhere along here. So let's move this over. And go to a heading of 112. And that's right there. Okay. So there's 2,000 feet. We can stop climbing. Looks like we're above all the terrain now. We can accelerate. We're going right there, which seems to co-align with these little bodies of water, maybe lakes right here in the island. And basically that's how you would do VFR navigation. You would have a physical map with the route drawn on it, and you would just follow along with your finger as you make progress towards each waypoint. And I did manage to successfully land my first tailwheel aircraft. If you tuned in yesterday on the stream, I was not successful. I was doing the landing challenges and I landed it once. The other times were crashes. The sensitivity on the rudder pedals on this airplane is very finicky. So we're coming up to these islands. This is leg 2. Now we're gonna do a short leg 3 across the island to this bay at a heading of 101. So we're gonna move this map over. We're going right there. Basically not a big heading change. And from the looks of it, basically just down this valley, because this is the big mountain that's depicted right there. And heading 101. So approximately here. And you can see the contours of the different shades of yellow. That tells you the gradual terrain rise. This is the valley, and so we're just gonna cross these 2 small hills and going for this bay. And pretty close. Right here is, I believe, where we want to go, so let's maybe make a small correction. Heading 103, 104, 101, very close. So once we get to this bay, we're cutting across the water again. And this will be leg number 4. But beautiful scenery. And as you can see, you can fit 2 people tandem in a Super Cub. Super Cub can't carry a lot of gross weight, unfortunately, so like if you go hunting or something with these, it's basically just you by yourself and whatever you catch. So if you're going like moose hunting, forget about it. You might have to leave half the moose in the bush. So here we are, just coming up to the bay, and now we're going on to leg number 4. which is we'll be making a left turn 056 and cutting across to this bay. So we are here, so let's go 056. And from the map, this is this little tip. So I think we're going right there. So maybe a little bit more. 056. Let's see how close we need to get. Yeah, about 060. Not a big leg, just a small little hop. And if we're looking, this is the curvature right there, and we're going for the second curvature right there. So 058, actually very close to our plan. Once we hit this shoreline, we're going pretty much straight across the island to this bay, which pretty much is in a straight line. But let's see, maybe this bay is this bay, and this one is maybe right here. So we'll turn to 049. So this is going to be leg number 5 now. So yeah, it does match the map that we're gonna, and then we're going to this bay. So yeah, I do think this is the correct one, because this first one we can already see. So I don't even think we need to make much of a heading change. 049, 053, it's very close. So we're at 7 minutes. We got 20 minutes or so to go. And I do start to see the outline of this tip, which is there. So it looks like we are going to the correct bay. On the map, it also coincides where we want to go, so it looks like we're on track. Once we hit this bay, we're starting leg number 6, and we're turning right on a heading of 070, which coincides with this small island, which is probably this island, because we can see this bay right there, which is here. And there we go. Let's make the turn 070. Yep, that looks to be about right. So this island is this island right there. Double check with our map in the flight deck right here. And that seems to be where we're going. So this is the little island. And as you can see, what it looks like on the map as a big island is actually pretty tiny in real life. So sometimes the map how should I say it? The map scale is not what you see in real life. And that's where pilots can get confused sometimes, where they think something is bigger than it is in real life, and they mistaking. This happens a lot in like mountain flying, where you might turn down the wrong valley, and then you're gonna be lost, basically. You'd have to fly backwards to retrace your steps, find the last waypoint that you were confident that you knew where it was, and then reassess yourself. And this is why we're island hopping, because when you're doing VFR flying, you always want to be gliding distance to shore. If something happens, we can at least land somewhere maybe. If not, ditch it very close to the shoreline so we could swim. So we're getting close to our island. We're basically pointing right to the center of it. Once we get there, we got two small legs. The first leg is to this island, which is right there. And then a very small hop right there. So right now we're on leg 6, and we're gonna go 7 and 8. Well, maybe this is just one leg. It looks like there's a small bend in there, but it's only giving us one heading. So we're almost at our island here. Then we're going to this island, and then right in this bay, which will be like 7. So it'll be a heading of 068. So which is what we're on now. So we might be now on leg 8 and 9. Yeah, that makes more sense. Here we are. There's the center of the island. We'll make the turn to 038. Which is this island right here. Zero 38, maybe not quite, maybe 045 or so. Pretty close. It's getting closer. 042, 038. So within 5 degrees. Pretty accurate. So we're doing this hop, and then let's zoom out, because then we're doing this big leg onto the mainland. Technically, this seems like a big enough body of water that it wouldn't really qualify as a VFR leg, but if you wanted to be really safe, you could climb up to like 5,000 feet, which will give you a better gliding distance. Alright, so here's this island. Basically, then we're going right from the center. You can see this little body of water. We're just gonna be making the turn somewhere around this body of water, which is right there. Heading is starting to get closer. 030, so we're on leg number 9. Again, within 5 degrees. Maybe I'll make a little correction to the left. Yep, that coincides with our flight plan. So looking good. Alright, so we are here. We're going to the mainland on a heading now of 360, so straight north. And let's make the turn. On a big distance like this, you do want to more or less follow your planned track, because the deviation on a longer leg will be greater than on a shorter leg. And this leg is 10 nautical miles. So we're gonna try to fly 0 or 360 as precisely as we can. Now we're gonna double check with our map. It does look like we're pointing to the correct corner of this bay. See, this distance away, it's hard to see the curvature because of our depth perception. And that's why we want to fly as closely as we can to our flight plan heading. We're at 17 minutes, so we got 10 minutes to go. So we're on leg number 10, and what do we have? 13 legs. So these are going to be much shorter, 3 miles, 3 miles, which is basically following the shoreline. So that shouldn't be too hard to find the airport. So once we hit this main island, we're going to go left 286. Again, just trying to maintain 2,000 feet. We don't need to go too high here. Double check inside the map. Yep, still looking good. Heading up 360 is bang on. So yeah, whenever you're doing these longer legs over stretches of water, really pay attention that you're tracking your flight plan heading. So everyone joining the stream, thanks for taking the time out of your Sunday to come hang out, fly some airplanes. We're flying here in Alaska, doing the bush activities in the Microsoft Flight Simulator. We're taking a break from the landing challenges. A beautiful scenery. If you have a chance to play the simulator in 4K, get yourself a 4K monitor, 60 Hertz. The graphics are absolutely amazing. And the Super Cub, it looks to be pretty modern. These probably cost around 200,000 or so, maybe more. So we're almost there, almost at the mainland. Once we do, we're gonna turn here, there, and we'll go straight into the airport, straight in approach. Again, the airport is asphalt. It's at 300 feet, and we got 3,500 feet. So again, very doable. Not landing on a gravel field or anything. So right at this tip, we're gonna start leg number 11. heading 286. Alright, close enough. Start a gradual turn. In reality, we could probably shave off this leg and just go right to this body of water, but that's how they have us flight plan, so we'll follow. Basically, it's got us pointing to one of these bays, so let's double check with our map. Yeah. Right here's where we want to go. There's a river that runs somewhere along here. So let's zoom in the map a little. So there's this little body of water right there, as you can see here. And this is our river or inlet of some sort. So that coincides with this point on our map. Heading 083, so we're a little bit off only because we turned early, but we did that cognizantly. Didn't do it by accident, so we're still following the flight plan. Now we're gonna go to a heading of 330 once we hit this point. And now we're going to this body of water, which is one of these. So right there, heading 330. I'm gonna correct our altitude to 2000, and once we clear this body of water, we're gonna start descending so we can do a straight in approach if we can find the runway. So we're heading of 330, 320, a little bit off, but let's make a little correction. The map shows us crossing right over the middle of it, and that looks better. So there's heading 328, so we are going in the right direction now. Still descending to 2,000 feet. Staying a little bit higher will help us find the runway instead of going down to 1,000 feet right away. This last leg is 6 miles, so it's a little bit lengthy. So we might not see the airport till about 5 miles, 4 or 5 miles. And then we're turning heading 342. And the runway orientation looks to be this direction, so I think we should be able to do a straight in landing, but let's see. So we're turning 342, approximately here, and that looks to be pointing to it, which should be right there. So let's descend to 1,000 feet. And see if we can't do a straight in approach. If we can't, we'll just join a downwind. It's either here or right there. So let's just get closer and see what we see. 26 minutes, we're supposed to be 27. We did start the clock a little bit late after takeoff, so that's the reason for that error. Just trying to find that runway. Looks to be like 2 of them. So we might just have to fly downwind. I'm not clearly making anything out. Yeah, so I'm assuming it's over this ridge. Maybe not. We still have to cross this terrain, and it's maybe over here. So let's keep going. So this looks to be a quarry of some sorts. Heading 042. Oh, there's the runway. Boom. Slowing us down. That's why we're at 1,000 feet, so we can really get the flaps down, slow ourselves, get the flaps in and land. Okay. All the flaps are down. 40 degrees, 46 degrees of flaps. I love this plane. So adding power, because this is a lot of drag. And we'll go back into the cockpit view. 60 knots is what I'm kind of targeting. We're at the 800 feet. Runway's at 300, so we're 500 AGL. Don't see a windsock. We're assuming the winds are calm. In real life, of course, we would fly overhead trying to find a windsock so we would land into the wind. Okay, speed's a little bit fast. That's okay though. Oh, there's the windsock. It's calm, so perfect. Again, I'm gonna touch on the main wheels and then slowly apply the brakes. There we go. And then I'm going to the external view because see how finicky the brakes are? The nose just starts to die. Oh, and we're here. 32 minutes. So not bad. A little bit off our time. I don't know why I didn't count this leg. That's weird. It's a status checked, okay. Oh, powered from packs. Okay, it did record it correctly. Your aircraft is refueled, so our next leg is 33 minutes. So we'll probably do one more leg for this stream. We have to turn around. We don't have enough runway to take off. We could take off this way, so we're not spending time backtracking. So let's go a little bit forward. Do a 180, take off the other way. So let's bring up 2 notches. Let's just get moving and then do a 180. We'll take off. The wind's calm, so that's the reason. So once we take off, we'll be going the wrong way. So once we take off, we're gonna we'll make maybe a right turn over the water, and then once we cross over the airport, that's when we'll start the time. And we're going to a heading of 048. Okay, so let's do a turnaround. Alright guys, ready for the third leg. Here's the full power, and off we go. Right, we're about 300 feet, flaps are coming up. We'll start a gradual right turn, keeping about 60, 70 knots. And we'll climb to 2,000 feet again. That was a good altitude. We can see all our terrain really clearly. There we go. There's the airport. We're targeting a heading of 048. And we'll start our time here in a second. Time has started. 048. We are going to this tip here. So just past the shoreline. Approximately there. We'll double check with our map. So this is where we're going approximately. We have these two tips, 1, 2, and we're going there. So this is a harder turn to make if you're just using VFR. All right. So we're at 2,000 feet. We're kind of hugging this shoreline there. Just gonna get it trimmed out a little bit better. This first point is supposed to take us 4 minutes. So let's see how accurate that is. Flying heading 048, 048, 49, pretty close. So this is our first leg. And we have 10 legs going to Falls Pass Airport. And this is the reason that we start our time, because we can approximate, even if we're not sure about a specific waypoint like this one, where there's no real big identifiable feature, we can rough estimate based on our time. And that's why you always record your time. A little bit slow, I'm just playing around with a variable pitch propeller. As you guys, you can see we can adjust the RPM with our propeller, which is this blue lever right here. Basically, I'm coursing it up to give us more bite of the air so we can fly faster. Yeah, again, nothing major identifiable in this area for us to make that turn. That's why we're gonna be kind of guessing. It's one of these small bodies of water, so it's either this one or this one. So let's just double check with our time and then we'll make a guesstimation. The next leg will be towards this point of this lake. So I think we should be able to get close of a guesstimation when we get here. Thanks for the Rose King. Much appreciated. So I'm kind of guessing around here is where we're going to make the turn. Second leg is going to be heading 089. And some big mountains, so let's see if 2,000 feet is gonna keep us clear of everything. It's really cool coloration on this river. Not sure what's causing this, or if this is accurate. A lot of purple. Wonder if it's like this in real life. Maybe we can double check on Google Maps or Google Earth. Alright, now we're going to, so 4 minutes and yeah, pretty, so that was 470, so close enough. So leg 2, we're going 089. Looks like we are gonna climb over some terrain, so let's go to 3,000 feet. And we are pointing, so yeah, we are gonna pass to the right of this mountain. So 2,500 feet looks to be enough, but maybe we'll go slightly higher. But this heading seems to be working out. 090, we're passing to the right of this peak, which coincides with this terrain gradient. This is the big mountain, this is the smaller one, and this is another one, which is this one. So this is the ridge that we want to fly over. So let's climb to 3,000 just to be safe. Everyone joining the stream, thanks for taking the time off your Sunday to come hang out. Fly some airplanes here in the bush of Alaska. We're gonna finish this leg, and then we'll see how long the next one is. This could be the last leg just for today's stream, and then we'll continue our Alaska adventure another day. But yep, 3,000 feet. Looks like we will cross everything. Once we hit this, we're going to be right over the water. So from this lake to that lake. Pretty easy navigation. Well, yeah, look at the scenery. It's such a beautiful view. Not sure what this line represents. I think it's a bit of a glitch maybe, but anybody been to Alaska? Let me know in the comments. I've never been. Closest I've been to is Yukon in Canada. If you guys ever fly around British Columbia and Canada, this is Very similar terrain and scenery. Okay, so we're here. Now we're basically going right there. And we're pointing, heading, this is like 3040. And according to the map, that's right there. Once we get to this point, just a quick hop over the lake, and then we got a big leg towards this mountain. Okay, wow, you can see the gradient really turning yellow into the orange and red right in the center. I don't know why they have us planned so high to cross the mountain, but that's where we're gonna try to go. Realistically, you would just cut it like this. If I were flight planning this, I don't know why we have to go so far here. Maybe for a sightseeing flight, who knows? We're just gonna follow what the computer has planned for us. So it looks like we're going around these mountains, and then this is our destination airport for the next fuel stop. Cool. If you guys are just joining, I'm streaming on YouTube and Twitch. So if you could head over to my Twitch and give me a follow, I would really appreciate that. Trying to get to my first 50 Twitch followers. Alright, here's the point that we're supposed to be making over the little lake of a heading of 067. And we're going right there, which is right here in real life. So VFR flying is not very hard. Of course, it's harder when the weather's bad. When the weather is like this, VFR flying is super enjoyable. If you have the airplane trimmed out the way I have, I just keep hands off, make small corrections here for bank, and you just hang out, look at the scenery. VFR flying is the most enjoyable flying you can do. And after a while, it just becomes muscle memory. You're not even thinking that you're flying. You're making like subliminal airplane control inputs. You're not even paying attention to what your hand's doing. You can have a full-fledged conversation with whoever you're flying with. Listen to music, especially if you're uncontrolled airspace like this in Alaska. And there's actually a lot of people that do make these trips from America. They fly through Canada and they make these kind of trips to Alaska. So there are groups of people that actually fly together, like 5-10 airplanes at a time, and they just follow each other as a team. So here's our point. We're going to heading 077, slight right turn, and about here's my guesstimate. Let's see if 3,000 feet should clear us. We might just cut the corner. I don't feel like climbing any higher. There's no need. Because we can literally just cut the corner to this lake there, which is somewhere over here. So we'll see. 077, 078. Yeah, good enough. It's an 11 nautical mile lake. Takes 5 minutes. Nice long lake. I got it all trimmed out, but it is climbing slightly, so I'm not gonna play with it too much. Not a big deal. Again, guys, if you have the opportunity to play this game in 4K, highly recommend it. There's our lights, landing lights. I might as well turn those on. Sure. Give us better visibility. Getting a little bit off track, so we'll just make a slight correction. Back to about 080. It's a cool mountain. While we're flying around, let me know if you have aviation questions that I can answer about flying, pilot career, anything you guys really want to know. Let's see how close we are. Looks to be about right. Here is approximately where we're supposed to be turning towards this point. In real life, I would have planned it to this lake because it's a distinguishable feature instead of these random arbitrary points. So once we get to around here, which is just this ridge, and again we're at 3,600 feet above sea level, and as you can see the ground is rapidly approaching, getting closer and closer. It feels like we're descending, and this is a common illusion that happens. You think you're descending into terrain, but you're not. Just the ground's coming up super quickly. If you follow this illusion, you're going to start pitching up, which will make it climb, but will also bleed off your airspeed, and then you can stall. And so that's the danger in letting this illusion take the better of you. So let's see. Pretty close. I feel like I just want to fly on this heading, honestly. You guys can feel we're getting a little bit of wind here over this ridge. The airplane's starting to move around. You can see that a little bit in the simulator. As you can see, getting us pushed around a little bit. In real life, we might want to be a little bit further away from the mountain or higher, because we're not clear on where the winds are coming from. If it's a downdraft, then the wind's going to push us down towards terrain. If it's updraft, it's fine. But just up here with no wind indicator, it is hard to discern. So always err on the caution of safety. Anyway, we're at about the point, we're a little bit lower than where we're supposed to be, but I don't know why we have to cross all the way up here. No point to that. But basically now we're going to be turning slightly to the right, heading 097. So we're definitely going to clear this ridge. Not by a lot. But very cool. Alright, so let's go 097. Which isn't a big turn because we're already pretty south. And I think one of these lakes is this lake. So this could be even this one. So 097, 097, yeah, this is this lake. So I'm taking a few liberties here to shave a little bit of time. Because once we pass this lake, which we are confirming is this one, we're turning 160, so we're on leg number 7, to come down to the shore. So instead of flying all the way here at the lake, we'll try to point towards the shore, because then it's easy navigation. We know we can't get lost. Even if we hit the shore somewhere along here, it doesn't matter. We are targeting the shoreline, so... We're 20 minutes into our flight. We know we have about 13 minutes to go. So here's our lake. And as you can see, if we zoom on this map, well, it's not showing on the map, but here's where this inlet looks to be exiting. So if we turn to approximately 130, 40, because we're, remember, cutting the corner. We're not going quite 160, we're just gonna chop a little distance off. And then once we hit the shore, now it's pretty easy navigation. We're going 090. So we're gonna get that lined up. And we're gonna go right to the tip here, which is about there from the looks of it. Beautiful landscape. That's why I'm very impressed with the Microsoft Simulator, because you can do a lot of flying without having to go there in real life. And really check out the scenery. Later I want to get Google Maps patch. Then we can fly with the real life Google Maps imagery. So I'm very excited about that. So I'm going to work on installing that patch. Okay, looks like we're here. And now we're gonna go right to this tip on a heading of 090, but basically just following the shoreline. Easy peasy. So now we're on leg number 8. I'm gonna turn on allow requests here on TikTok. Not sure how it works. I don't know. Anyway, guys, I turned on TikTok multi-guest live, I guess. I'm not sure what the terminology is. I haven't played with TikTok with these new settings. But if you guys want to jump in onto my TikTok, you can send me an invite request. I think I got it set up correctly. Yeah, I do. So, perfect. If you guys want to jump in into the live stream on TikTok, send me an invite request. Alright, coming up to this point, looks to be where we are going, right there. And the last big stretch is gonna be this one. Right here, and that will be a heading of 038, and that's 11 nautical miles. So that'll be the last long leg of this leg. And then we'll see how much time we have left. Here we go. That's our point for the turn. Leg number 9, 038. Let's make the left turn. Looks like this is where we kind of want to go. Heading 038. Yeah, this is the inlet. We got this peak there, the mountain range right there, and we want to go right there, which is here. And we are on a heading of 038, 038, looking good. While we have time on this leg, let's plan our landing a little bit. We're going to False Pass Airport, which is asphalt, much shorter. So I'm gonna do my best getting on the brakes early without tipping us over. The runways keep getting shorter and shorter, which is testing my skills here. But it is asphalt, so should be okay. It's right at 13 feet, so sea level, which will help us plan our approach. And okay, so that looks good. So once we get to this point, I'm happy we have this Garmin digital setup, because if we were doing this analog it would be a little bit more challenging, that's for sure. Yeah, we can even set our heading bug. So I haven't really played with any of these. That just basically moves our heading bug right there. What else we got? We got a flight director. Wow. Does this have autopilot? I'm not sure. I don't think so. No, it doesn't have autopilot, but the flight director is gonna follow what you're setting. Wow. Definitely a lot fancier for bush flying than what you need. So I got a slightly descending at a shallow rate because the airport is somewhere over here. It's not a big leg. We want to get down to 2,000 feet, and then once we're closer, get to circuit height of 1,000 feet. And basically, once we get to this point, it's going to be our last leg, number 10, heading 328, basically just following the shoreline. Again, won't be very hard. According to this map, the runway should be paralleling the coast. So if we come in straight, we should be able to do a straight-in approach. So according to our map, we are pointing at the correct point here for our last turn. Let's see if we can see the runway already. Not quite, but it's just before this big mountain, so somewhere here, because it's perpendicular to the edge of this island, so somewhere in here. Again, we're making a slight gradual descent. I just have it trimmed, so we're a little bit nose down, so we're doing a gradual descent. Okay, here's our point of turn. Left turn heading 328. We're at 30 minutes. 3 more minutes or so to go. And we are on track. So we're going to continue descending to 2,000 feet. I'm thinking I'm seeing the runway there. So we're going to continue our descent. Once we get, yeah, so there's the runway. So I'm thinking I'm just going to go slightly to the right of this little hill. We're not going to really pay attention to the map as much anymore because we know exactly where we are. We're going to start to reduce our power so we can bleed some speed back. Keep descending. We're at 2,000 feet almost. We're going to continue descending to 1,000 feet. Again, it's a short runway, so I'm going to use all the flaps. The rudder on this is super sensitive. So I'm gonna use very gradual braking. (1,500 feet). We're descending a little bit fast at 1,000 feet per minute. So I'm just gonna arrest that descent to 500 feet. This will let me bleed the speed back. And then we're just gonna go do a straight-in approach. So there's 1,200 feet. I'm gonna keep reducing power so we can bleed the speed back further. Start a gradual descent about 500 feet or so. If you guys are never sure where you're gonna be touching down, If you look at or put the runway in the center of your windshield, and it doesn't move up or down. I am moving my nose here, but if you hold it steady and you can see the runway stationary in the center of your windshield, that's exactly where you're going to be touching down. If the runway is starting to move up, you know you're going to be low. And if the runway starts to move down, you know you're going to be high. That's your visual cue to tell you what you need to do. So, I'm going to raise my nose a little bit to bleed the speed into the white arc and get our flaps. There's 600 feet, the runway is at sea level, so we're a little bit higher, gonna get all the flap down. So there we go, 46 degrees of flaps. Love it. Which is a lot of drag. So we're gonna add a little bit of power. We're at 60 knots, we're looking good. We're aiming for the beginning of the runway. Remember, it's only 2,100 feet long, so it's very short. It looks to have a bit of a bend in the middle, which will help us slow it down. It's very finicky on the approach, so you guys, like, I'm making very small pitch corrections, but you can see how big of an effect it has. Okay, a little bit of a bounce, but here's the brakes. Applying kind of oscillating brakes here so we don't pitch over. And we made it. See, 2,100 feet, not a big deal. 37 minutes, so a few 4 minutes more than what we planned. But there's our leg. 35 minutes into our logbook. We are refueled. The next leg is 18 minutes. I think I have time to do one more leg. I think if we backtrack, well, no, we got short of a distance to go here. So we're just gonna turn around again, take off, going the other way. The wind's calm. And once we take off, again, we'll make a left turn. Once we hit this point, we'll start our timer on the flight plan and then start following the flight plan. This flight plan's got 7 legs, 18 minutes long. Tail draggers are super easy to turn around, as you can see. And there we go, full power, off we go. Tail wheels are already up. Ooh, super sensitive on the rudder pedals. Lots of room here over the lake, so we'll start our gradual turn. Flaps are going to come up. 60 knots, seems like a good speed. Again, we'll climb to 2,000 feet. That altitude seems to be working well, unless we have to cross more mountains. And so our first heading, once we hit this point, is 050. Which basically is just following the shore, so not a challenging departure. Alright, starting our time. Heading 050, we're going to this point here. That's leg 1. Leg 2 is in between these islands. And leg 3 is going to the opposite shore. So pretty easy. So we're always a few minutes late So we're just gonna cut the corner here and go right away to this point. So this is leg 1, 2. So we're gonna go leg 3 will be our big one. Actually, no. Leg 4 is the big one. Again, you can take a little bit of liberty in your flight plans if it's beautiful VFR conditions and you know where you're going. We're basically pointing to this inlet here. Right there is where we want to go, and then hit this edge here. There, we're at 2,000 feet. We can start trimming this out. There. I hope in real life it's purple like this. I'm not sure what's causing it. I'm curious now. If we go to Google Maps, if this is actually going to be purple, I'm not sure what would cause this. So we have this inlet right there. This is where we want to make that turn, so we are on the right direction. Then we're going to this corner right there. That's our short leg 3. And then the long leg is going to be number 4. So we'll cue that up. Again, remember, on the longer legs, we want to be fairly accurate with our... look at the updraft we're getting. Just over this little hill. Interesting. Yeah, so this longer leg, we want to actually hit this point and then fly heading 348. Okay, the internal map is checking out that we are on the right peak point. We're already 4 minutes in, so we got 14 minutes to go. Oh, I think glitched out here, so we're on leg 4. It's not going to be too difficult. We're basically going for this inlet, which is right there. Not hard to spot. And we're heading 358. So we only need like a 10-degree change. So let's set our heading back to... 348. Perfect. Yeah, much flatter on this side. There's one big mountain over there. Those were the big ones we passed. And then it's a wide open ocean over there. Everybody tuning into the stream, thanks again for joining me on a Sunday. We're flying around Alaska on these bush challenges, trips, activities in the Microsoft Flight Simulator. If you're watching this on replay, I'm also streaming on Twitch. So if you guys want to go there and help me out by following, trying to get to my first 50 followers. So we're getting close. Once we get here, our next leg's gonna take us to this point. Again, that'll be pretty easy to spot. Or we can just follow the shoreline. Not a big deal. And that will be another big leg of 8 nautical miles. So we're almost to our point, so let's queue up the next waypoint. We're going to be turning to a heading of 052. So let's queue that up. 052. I always love the graphics. Look how the sun is shining into the cockpit and making the like very accurate shadows. The graphics again are amazing. On my YouTube channel, I will be making private pilot lessons for you guys. So make sure to follow my YouTube channel so you don't miss those. Basically, the idea with those is to watch my video in preparation for your real flight training lesson. Because training costs are super expensive right now, upwards of $400 an hour. My goal with that is to make these free lessons so you guys can watch them and kind of get an idea of what to expect during your real lesson, and that will hopefully save you time and some money in the actual airplane when you get there. So if that's something you're interested in, head over to my YouTube channel and follow me along. So we're making the turn 052. We can already see where we want to go right here. And after that, we're basically cutting the bay and going to this corner, which will be about another 8 nautical miles. So these are much longer legs, nice and easy. Lots of bodies of water to reference. Lots of areas to touch down the airplane in case of an emergency. Again, we're in Alaska, so the trees aren't very high here. They might only get like 6 feet tall, 7 feet tall. Same in the Yukon of Canada. If you've never been to the Arctic or Alaska, I have a video on my YouTube channel about when I used to fly in the Arctic. It's very fascinating. It was definitely an experience I'll never forget. So it looks like we're on the right heading to hit this shoreline here. And then we're cutting across heading 077. So not a big heading change, about 20 degrees. And just from looking at it basically somewhere around here. And these emerald green lakes are actually fairly well, or they're fairly accurate. And that's just from the algae buildup. It's either algae or another chemical, I forget. But in real life, you will see these kind of green emerald lakes. Yeah, I think it's a chemical buildup. I forget which one though. So you don't want to drink out of them. So we're at 11 minutes. We got about 8 minutes to go. Looking good. So queuing up leg number 6 out of 7. We're going to make our turn to heading 077. Alright, here's our point. Now we're going to make the right turn 077 and fly towards this point. That looks to be pretty close, pretty accurate. 076. We're going just under 8 nautical miles. And then we have our last leg to the airport. So let's kind of plan our approach. It's Cold Bay, Alaska. Oh, so it's a big airport. Quite a few runways. All of them more than sufficient to land. So basically, once we see the airport, we'll just land on any runway that it's a straight-in approach. Make our life easier. It's at 88 feet, so pretty close to sea level for planning purposes. Yeah, there's IFR arrivals and everything. So it's a big airport, so I'm assuming that's where they fly in a lot of the cargo. Once we hit this point, it's going to be a left turn 064 for 5 nautical miles. Yeah, big airport, big runways. In that case, we can start a gradual descent down to circuit height of 1,000 feet. There aren't any mountains or hills in our way, so we can already start descending. I think the airport is right there. Let's see. No. That would be here, so it's right across. So somewhere right here or right there. We want a heading of 064, which will point us about there. So that's kind of where the airport is. Okay. So we'll queue up heading 064. So again, thanks everybody for joining the stream on this Sunday. We're flying around Alaska in the Super Cub. doing the activity challenges on Microsoft Flight Simulator. Basically, this is VFR navigation. So hopefully this video gave you some insight into what it's like navigating VFR if you're in that part of your flight training. So here's the point of our turn. We're going to 064. Gonna keep descending a little bit faster here. Gonna reduce our power so we can start descending. Ah, there's the runway. So I think we can come in straight and land here on this runway. I'm not sure what number that is, about 065 or so. Let's see what runways we have. 33. 08, yeah, 080 is what we're gonna land on. That's right there. So we'll queue up 080. With this glass cockpit setup, we could shoot a real ILS. Okay, we're at 2,000 feet. We're gonna keep reducing power. Keep descending. $6,500 feet long is the runway. Lots of runway. Again, we're gonna land on our main gear, lead that speed off, and have our tail wheel touch, and then apply smooth braking so we don't go over our nose. What are we, 1,500 feet? Maybe a little bit high. We'll keep reducing the power. We'll get into the white arc for our flap speeds. Add full flap. It's even got runway lights. Yeah, it's a big airport, so definitely big airplanes are coming in here. Maybe we got some Pappies. Yeah, so we got Vassies. Alright, so I got full flap, 46 degrees. We don't need it, but it's been working so far, and let's not change it. I'll get a little bit more trimmed out. Again, the control inputs are super sensitive on the Cub, so I'm doing my very best to like make them very minor, but it's still like very pitchy. You can see like I'm barely moving my yoke and it's really reacting aggressively. Anyway, we're aiming, there's 2 red, perfect. We're on slope, we're at about 55 knots, so I'm gonna add a little bit of power. It looks perfect. Again, very minor rudder inputs. This plane is very squirrely. For red, that's fine. It's a big runway. We're still aiming. Hey, fire truck, where are you going? Oh, come on. Are you gonna crash into me? Jeez. What's going on? Holy. That's weird. Well, we managed to avoid the fire truck. No idea why he was on the runway. Just applying nice smooth brakes here. Okay, we made it in 22 minutes. And that'll be it for today's stream. Let's just go back and see how much of that progress we've made. 33%, so a third of the flight. 33%, so a third of the flight. So we still got all this to go. So we'll definitely resume this next time. It's a 700 nautical mile trip, so we still got quite a ways to go. And it's 6 hours long, so we flew for about 2 hours, so 2.5 hours. So we still got another 4 hours to go. Thanks everybody for tuning in. I hopefully you enjoyed this flight, found it useful. Make sure to follow me on Twitch and YouTube so you get notifications on when I go live again. Otherwise, have a great Sunday, and we'll see you on the next stream.